I don't know how many ways I can articulate a sentence that's just that was an episode of RWBY, but by God, I'll try. Surely this was indeed an episodic chapter in the 8th collection of chronologically ordered sequential RWBY entries. There were some highlights in this episode, sure. I like seeing all the cameos and never realized how hot Glinda was till now, good god. I like the Penny vs Cinder fight because it's well animated, has some creative choreography, and is legitimately just a pretty good fight scene. I liked all the stuff with Penny and Pietro's interactions because I actually like these characters, and seeing them not agreeing on something but willing to compromise in some ways is nice. Penny pushing up Amity could not have felt more like a let's try and give RWBY some scaling so she beats Marka in a death battle moment if they tried. And honestly, just sort of feels weird. It didn't really feel like this is what everything was leading towards, was Penny pushing it up and then getting dropped by Watts. Good job trusting Watts, by the way, Ironwood. You're not willing to trust Team RWBY, who, to be fair, did break your trust, but you're willing to trust Watts, who is a cunt. And honestly, the limited screen time of Team RWBY really contributes to this arguably being my favourite episode of the volume so far. Though I still kind of found myself numb while I was watching it. There are some things that bothered me. Maria's line of, yo, why do you gotta keep controlling her, would probably be more understandable if Penny wasn't, like, a teenager. Speaking of which, they seem to forget that teenager thing, given RWBY makes a big old speech to all of Atlas that I'd love to take seriously, but honestly, if in real life I saw a radio broadcast of a 16-year-old, check my third timeline video if you want to know why I call her 16, telling me about some magical fucking witch bitch and like all the dangers and shit that I either already know or are complete nonsense. Even in the world of RWBY, I wouldn't take that seriously. Would you take it seriously if a 16-year-old told you all that shit? It's a 16-year-old. And then there's Cinder's voice acting. Cinder's first line got me laughing because the delivery is so flat and hilarious. There were, I think, 2 points where I couldn't even make out what she said, and oh god, Cinder's awful! And it's not even Jessica Negri's fault at this point, it's gotta be the direction. When you voice a character for this long, and you're actually pretty good in RWBY Chibi, it's gotta be the direction of the show that's fucking you over. God, her voice is dull. Then there's the fact that Neo, who completely obliterated Team Juniper and Oscar in a fight, wrecked Volume 2 Yang without being hit once while smiling about it, and was winning a fight against Cinder before Cinder used her maiden powers, gets bodied by fucking Maria. Sure, you can say Neo won, or that Neo got some hits in, but Maria did better against Neo in a one-on-one than any other character has so far. Seriously? Fucking Neo only won because Maria got distracted by Penny. And like, sure, Maria is an old wise master, and that's a common boring archetype in anime. Wow, so creative, but seriously? I can think of so many masters that don't have this single problem of why hasn't she been helping this whole time? If she could hold her own against one of the most consistently competent fighters in the entire series, you're terrible, Maria. Why haven't you been helping? You shouldn't have been down there in Mantle. You should have gone and bodied the Aesops yourself. That'd be a fucking sight to behold. Like, think about it. Master Roshi, he only stopped getting into the serious fights when he was no longer strong enough. Jiraiya literally fought till he died. Master Splinter usually does get involved in fights when he's actually needed, and if not, half the time it's because the turtles just didn't even tell him about what was going on. Not his fault that he didn't get involved in something he didn't know about. Gran Torino does get fucking involved in shit, and he's probably older than fucking Maria. Fucking Goken didn't get involved in a lot of shit because he was dead. Why hasn't Maria gotten involved? Usually when you have this sort of archetype, they're either not strong enough to actually get involved with what's really going on, or they do get involved, or they just don't know about what's going on. Seriously? Fucking hell. Does this confirm that Tok is better than Neo 2? Tok could take down Maria in her prime, while a shriveled old prune Maria could play around with Neo. Fucking Tok beats Neo, and I hate that with a burning passion. Legitimately, Neo has dropped a couple rungs down the ladder of being a threat, which leaves me just considering Tyrion as the last remaining proper threat. Neo is just now in the category. I still love Neo, of course, although I don't want to make this seem biased to me getting angry that Neo got bodied. Maria is also the best character they've added in the last 3 volumes, and I wouldn't want to fuck either of them, because one is crazy, one is old, and there are better options for best girl than either of them when it comes to the idea of actually being in a relationship. Emerald also does fucking nothing for most of the fight. She easily could have got involved more before Cinder had already lost the fight, because fuck Cinder. Not only can RWBY look at her to death, but a fledgling maiden with no training can too. Wow, Salem, you're a shithouse teacher. You've been teaching fucking Cinder for how goddamn long, and she can't even be the fucking maiden that's only just gotten her powers a couple days ago. God, no wonder Mercury wasn't involved now. Him and Neo both being bodied by Maria would be even sillier. Emerald, though, with her thing of, I can put holes in that thing before you stop me, is a load of bullshit, and a case where, honestly, even if she could have put a lot of holes in it before Penny would body her, considering Penny can do the fucking spinny thing and stop all the bullets, fuck Pride, just one-shot Emerald like you one-shot Neo earlier when she's down there. And then the episode ends with a river of Grim, and I've already fallen asleep at that point. Best episode in the volume? Probably. But that's not really saying much.